So we're very pleased to have our special guest speaker today, Heather Smith-Bermudez. She's the General Manager of Access Link. And I'm going to call her up to give us an overview. Access Link are making a lot of improvements to their service. And I want her to be able to explain those to you. And then we will have time, if many of you have questions or comments that you want to talk to her about, and overall in terms of getting to your jobs and getting to doctors and all the kind of concerns you have. So I'm sure that you'll be able to clear up many of those by telling you what kind of improvements Access Link is making now and over the next couple of months. So welcome. Thank you, Heather, for coming here.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
So first I want to apologize. I know we had to do a reschedule of this meeting, and I appreciate that. I actually was telling Audrey, I actually was still in bed this morning, so I haven't gotten the flu shot, and I've never been a big proponent of it, but after this year I am, because I'm on like week 4 of trying to heal from it. So bear with me if my voice goes in and out, and I'm going to do my very best. One of the things I said to Audrey that I'd like to do is, I know a lot of you, how many of you are Access Link riders? Okay. How many of you guys, how many of you are staff or people who work with any of the individuals that are in this room? Okay. And how many of you are family members? Perfect, great, fantastic. So let me tell you a little bit about me for a second, because I want to make sure that we're sort of all on the same page. I've been with New Jersey Transit for almost 16 years at this point, and prior to doing that, I actually worked in the field of people with disabilities. So I jokingly used to say I'm not a transportation person, but I guess after 16 years I probably can't say that anymore. I have a balance of my career between working with people with disabilities, especially adults with developmental disabilities, and then coming to New Jersey Transit. And one of the reasons I came to New Jersey Transit all those years ago was because I consider myself a very true advocate for people with disabilities. And I wanted to be on the other side to be able to make sure that the services that people with disabilities get are ones that give them the same rights as everybody else. That was my focus. That has always been my focus. In my time have spoken a lot with individuals with disabilities, and one of the things I hear all the time is that an individual with a disability doesn't want something better. They just want the same as everybody else. Am I good in that thought process? Okay, good. So when I came to New Jersey Transit and I wound up on the Access Link team, one of the things that we started looking at was, and I started to learn was, what is Access Link all about? And I actually used to run day programs for adults with disabilities, so we used to have our own vans and we used to provide transportation to people. And, so we started talking about Access Link, and I started looking at what Access Link did and what the services were that we used to provide. And there is a very big difference. I just want to, reminding everybody that Access Link is comparable to the local fixed route bus. And the way that I describe it, and I have used this for myself over years, I don't say it to offend, but Access Link is the little white bus that does everything that the big white bus does. That's the way I describe it. Anybody who uses Access Link, do any of you also use, and I'm not going to hold this against you if you say yes, do any of you also use the regular bus?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And the train? Great.
Because Access Link doesn't go into New York.
Because Access Link doesn't go to New York.
I can't do it because I can't run the buses.
I can
Okay.
take the bus and the train, yeah.
You use the bus and the trains, okay?
Bus and the train,
Okay.
yeah.
Now you said you can't climb the buses, and normally I'm pretty regimented and I keep us on a schedule, but I am going to use this opportunity to tell you that every bus, the big buses, every one of the big buses have two features that you can use. One of them is they can lower the stairs, all of those stairs, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I will disclose, I do not have a disability, at least, not that I tell the world about, but no, I'm just kidding. I do not have a disability, and I still would ask them to lower those stairs, because that first step up,
And the
that's,
train,
that's pretty big.
I can't.
Train,
I
the
can't-
train you can't because you use a walker.
I can't, no, I can't, after, by someone said they pick the walker up, I can't lift my legs up that high anymore.
Well, if you
After I
take-
broke them.
Okay, if you're taking the train, they do have bridge plates that allow you,
Not on all,
not on all the trains, but on most of the platforms, if it's an accessible station, there will be a bridge plate that will help you bridge that gap. But we can talk about that, we can,
and I also don't like, standing in the bad weather waiting for,
I get you, I don't either, okay? So, but I just wanted to say, for people who use the bus and use Access Link, it is comparable, okay? Access Link is the little white bus that does everything that the big white bus does. And I just wanted to kind of go over a little bit about what we do. So we are public transportation. We do not have any aids on our buses. All of the individuals who use Access Link must apply for the service, right? Everybody who used it went to a transportation assessment? Right. Everybody has to apply. We operate the same days, times as the local fixer-up bus. So if there is no bus service, I always think I'm a short person, that just made me feel a little taller. Same days and times, so if there's no bus service on a Saturday in your area, there will not be Access Link service on a Saturday. If the service stops at 11 o'clock at night, then the Access Link service will stop around 11 o'clock at night. And that's one of the things that used to come up all the time when I would go out, is individuals would say, well, I get out of work at 11 o'clock, and the bus stops at 9, so I need Access Link. Well, the whole thought behind that was that we wanted it to be the same. If a person without a disability can't take the bus home, because that same bus at 9 o'clock, then if a person without a disability can't, then a person with a disability shouldn't be able to either. Now, I'm not saying that Access Link is going to be the solution for everything, because I'm going to tell you we're not. I think that there's the county transportation. How many people use a county transportation?
What's that?
Just one, maybe two. So,
They will not let us sign up anymore, that's what I was told.
okay, but I'm not here to, yeah, okay, and I'm not here to
I know, I'm just telling you what I was told
Okay.
before we said.
okay. But every county in the state, all 21 counties, have a county transportation. That is also available for people with disabilities. So you have the counties, you have Access Link, you have the local fixer-up bus, you have the train, and you have a light rail system if you have one in your area, which unfortunately there is not one around here. So Access Link, same days and hours as the local fixed route bus. It's a comparable ride time to the local fixed route bus. We are now, we call ourselves now an origin to destination service. That meaning that we're not solely curb to curb. For the most part, we're curb to curb, but if somebody were to have the need to have a little bit more assistance, getting from the front door to the bus, or getting from the bus to the front door of where you're going, that is something you can call, you can talk to us about, and we will see what kind of accommodation we can make for that. So it's more of an origin to destination shared ride service. Also, we have a service area. So Access Link mirrors the local fixed route bus, so we're only going to go to the same places that the local bus goes to, within 3/4 of a mile of a bus route. That gets confusing a little bit for people. Is there anybody, here's my next question, is there anybody in here who's eligible for the Access Link service but doesn't live in the service area? Everybody gets picked up at the front, at their home? Okay, do you get picked up are you an Access Link rider?
I am, but I am confused with the asking.
Okay, do you get picked up at home?
Yes.
Okay, then you're in the service area,
Oh.
okay?
You mean at our building where we come from to go to our job?
Yeah, you get picked up at home? Okay.
Of course.
Okay, but there are, just so everybody understands this too, there are some people who are eligible for the service, but their home is not within 3/4 of a mile of a bus route. So those individuals need to get into the service area in order to get then taken to their final destination. Does that make sense to everybody, for the most part? Okay. So once somebody becomes eligible for the service, you then need to make a reservation. Reservation, how many people remember, how many people have been using Access Link for a really long time? Okay, keep those hands up. How many people remember when you used to be able to make a ride 14 days in advance?
Yep.
You do, right? So we cut that back, I don't even remember exactly how long, that was probably at least 10 or 11 years ago.
Yep.
Where we used to make trips 14 days in advance. So now it's 7 days in advance, up to the day before. And the other thing is, obviously, we ask that you cancel those rides. If you don't need a ride, we ask you to cancel, because that just saves us the time and the money and the energy of going to somebody else's house, especially if your friend is the next pickup. You don't want us to have to come to your house to find out that you're not going, and now we still need to go pick up somebody else. So we ask that you cancel those rides way in advance. I just wanted to give a couple of statistics so people understand. We now have, at this point, over 52,000 certified Access Link riders in the state of New Jersey.
Wow. That's why.
Yeah, that's why. Last year, we transported over 1.7 million we made 1.7 million rides. We have over 500 vehicles. We have a little bit under 700 operators. We took around 1.1 million calls last year. And now, here's my next question. How many individuals use email reservations?
I actually,
I tried to use that, but I don't understand how it works.
Okay.
I know how to use the email.
Okay, but you do use them?
It's really hard.
Okay, well,
I'm a parent, and I have to copy templates and paste them and put things in there. It's really hard.
so let me ask you a question. You're using them now or no?
Right now, everything that, he was using them when I had to do rides for him to go to school, but now everything is subscriptions right now.
Okay.
So I haven't had to use it in a while, but if I did need to make a reservation, that's what I would do.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you that you don't even have to worry about the email reservations anymore, because we are steps away from one of the big things that I'm going to talk about in a minute. But
They asked if we wanted a pilot,
Yep.
online one, and I said yes, and then never heard from anybody. And then they said, oh, well, you have to go to Access Link online, and I did, and can't find it.
Okay, well, we're going to get your information from you before you leave. I want to just hold the questions. I just wanted to I'm cheating right now and I'm asking a few questions because I'm just trying to get a feel for who uses what. So email reservations, just so everybody understands. Some people do say they're hard, but even with people saying they're hard, last year alone, we took in 95,000 email reservations. So, we noticed, quite a few years ago that our calls were growing and our staff was not growing per se, and the technology wasn't available at the time. So we came up with that email reservation concept to try and help individuals who didn't want to hold on the phone to make a ride, to give them another means to be able to book a ride. Okay, hold on, I'm going to get there, I promise. So we have a couple of features right now that are available to customers. One, like I just mentioned, is the email reservations. We also, how many people, well, a lot of you have subscriptions, yes?
Yes.
But how many people get a call from Alice every night before their ride? Not if you have a subscription, right, exactly. And we chose to do that on purpose, because we just didn't think you would want that same call every night with the exact same information. So we opted to opt out the subscription customers and only call customers who had new trips every day. So Alice is our IVR. That was the first phase that we put out, and we have her calling customers the night before their trips to remind you of your trip for tomorrow. And you have two options with those calls. You can either answer it and listen to the call, and if you do choose to answer it, you can actually, if you need to, cancel that ride during that call. If you don't want to answer it, you don't want to cancel, but you want to just save that call to reference later, you can let it go to a voicemail, and it will, obviously the voicemail will record the message. But one thing, and I repeat this, is that once you save, if you're listening to your voicemail, don't try and cancel it during that call, because you're not going to be able to do it. You can only cancel it if you answer the call live. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay.
I'm very confused
I'm sorry. About which part?
with everything.
With everything.
I'm so confused with the question and comments. I'm very confused with
Okay, well, how about we do this? How about we try and go through a few more things, and then let's see if we can't find out exactly what's confusing you, okay? Okay. So we then added an email cancellation line in 2015 to allow individuals to send cancellations via email as well, to try and help with the hold time. And in January of 2017, we went live with the Access Link Online. That was our first phase of Access Link Online. It is live right now to everybody. And what that will allow you to do is check the status of your ride, cancel a ride, and update any of your personal information. And that is what's going on with that right now. Now, since we're, God bless you. Since we're on that topic, that was just the first phase. We are currently right now in the process of testing an updated website. We have about 1,700 customers in our user acceptance testing, and this website is going to allow 2 more features on top of being able to check the status and cancel. It's going to allow customers to reserve a ride online. So it will replace the email reservations. That's why everybody who uses email reservations is getting these constant notices of, you better check it out, because it's going to go away. And people are like, keep booking email reservations, but it's a matter of, it is something that is going to take the place of email reservations. The other thing that will be coming with this new website, which to me is something I've been hearing probably for about 15 of the 15 years that I've been here at New Jersey Transit, is electronic fare. This will allow customers to not have to pay cash on the bus. It is something I have been a huge proponent of. I say this to people, I don't think anybody wanted it more than the staff at Access Link. It might have been a tie between the customers and the staff as far as who wanted it more. No more exact fare, no more need for money. It's very much, and we even opted not to do like a card, because we just didn't want to have to worry about individuals losing the card, having to have it with them. So this is a system that will allow you to put money into your account.
Oh,
And then
it's not like an Uber where it just comes right out of your checking?
it is not like an Uber where it's going to come out of your checking every ride, but it's more comparable, and you may or may not have had the history with it, but it's more and more, I'm saving questions actually to the end, okay?
Okay.
It's more and more, it's more like an Easy Pass for the families and the staff that are in the room. It's like an Easy Pass. So you will put a certain amount of money into your account, let's say $50, and every time you take a ride, it will deduct that from that $50, and then you have the opportunity to set a threshold or an amount where once you hit that, it will automatically replace. Does that make sense, sort of, to everybody?
Yeah.
So there's no need to have cash, there's no need to carry an ID, there's no need for any of that stuff. You can just put the money in the account, use it, and once it dwindles away, it will just automatically replace. Again, I'm saving questions, just bear with me. Thank you. So that is our website. Should be completely up and running for everybody by the end of this month. That is our goal. Like I said, we do have some customers currently. Thank you. We have about 1,700 customers currently using it. If it is something you are interested in using and you haven't been using it as of yet, you can definitely go on the regular website. We may be just updating the regular website to include it in the very near future, or you can definitely give us a call and let us know. So about, what month are we in, March? Pardon? Thank you. I know, kind of lost track of a couple months there. Somewhere around October, November, the phone system got pretty crazy. Yeah, right? Pretty crazy. And we acknowledged that. We knew it. We needed staff. We needed a lot of things to happen. We needed this technology to come. And we pushed and pushed and fought for it. So just to let everybody know where we went as far as our statistics, in the month of, what did I say, we're in March. So in January, I know, I have a hard time with that. In January, our average speed of answer was hovering around, and I'm saying average, which means that I know some of them were a lot worse, so you don't have to scream and laugh when I say it, but the average was around 30 minutes. Some were worse, some days, sometimes were better, but it was bad. For the month of February, we have increased our staff, we have increased technology, we have now actually have some agents that are actually working remotely. We are the first paratransit that I know of in the country that has reservation agents working from home, taking your reservations from home. So we did that so we can free up some space in the building to be able to hire more. And in February, our average speed of answer was 4 minutes. 4 minutes. I know, it was, again, and I know that you guys definitely have some issues and you guys have some things you want to bring to, talk to me about. I need you to clearly understand that there is nobody, and you can choose to believe me or not, but I would ask that you do, that there is nobody that was more frustrated with what you were experiencing as a customer than us as the employee, as a staff. We were really, we were feeling it. I know that it's very easy for me to say that. I wasn't the one on the other end, I get that. But our goal was to make it the best service for you. I'm sorry?
And sadly.
And thank you. And that was where we were headed. So we did all of that stuff with staff. I mean, technology, with the web and being able to book rides online, that's going to be really, truly fantastic. But I'm going to say that there are some people who are going to say to me, I don't want to do online. I don't want to do, electronic. I don't want to do. And here's what I'm going to say. You don't have to. Because trust me, I'm not getting rid of any of my staff. They're all going to be there because there's plenty for them to do. But what I am going to ask is the individuals who can do it online and want to, if you do it online, then you will allow the individuals who need to speak to an agent to be able to speak to an agent. That's the kind of the give and take on this, is if you have, because some people are going to say, I don't have a smartphone, or I don't want to do that. But there are individuals who say, I love it. I mean, obviously 95,000 email reservations, it was working for somebody. And all we ask is that the people who were doing that, then they just continue to do that on the web to allow us to continue to answer the phones. Because guess what? 4 minutes? Average speed of answer 4 minutes? Not good enough for me. I want you to be able to call and I want you to be able to get right through. I know when I call places, I don't want to hear PSE&G or Verizon tell me that I've got a hold. And I don't want you to either. So that's where our goal is. So we did this with the web. Now, we also rolled out this was the month, February 28th, we rolled out our new IVR. So when you call now, and some people like it and some people don't.
Oh, it's awesome.
Okay, see?
What is it?
Now, and some people will say it's awesome and some people will say it's not. And guess what? That's okay. Because not everything is going to work for everybody. We agree on that, right?
What is that?
So what this is when you call in now, you don't have to speak to an agent to check the status of your ride. You don't have to speak to an agent to cancel. It will tell you, and we do have a few things, I know, we have a few things we need to tweak with it. We're working on that right now. Give me a couple of days on that. There is a few little things. A lot of people, we told a lot of our customers to remember your Alice pin, right? For people who we used to say, that Alice pin. How many people, don't tell me what it is, raise your hand if you know what your Alice pin is. Look at that. So I'm going to give you a little hint. Your Alice pin is the last 4 digits of the phone number that we have on file for you. We have had Alice, because I just want to take, we started Alice in November of 2010. We started doing brochures and mailings back then, telling everybody, your PIN is the last 4 digits of your phone number. In every brochure that we've done, in everything we've put out there. And even now people are like, wait a minute, hold on. Wait a minute, what's my Alice PIN? I hear it all the time. My PIN? I don't have a PIN. So when you're out there, just want you to remember that Alice PIN is the last 4 digits of your phone number.
Cell or home number?
It's the number we're calling you on.
Oh.
So if you're getting a call the night before, but it's your main number. It's going to vary person to person.
When I used to take it, I had another pen.
Okay, did you update the phone number with us?
I have no.
Okay. I'm going to let you a little secret. I don't have, you know what I don't have? But I will pay anybody for it? A crystal ball. I don't have one.
When I used to use it, they would ask me for my ID and I would have to.
I know, that number.
That number.
Sure.
So that number is no good anymore?
Your ID number is the same. Your customer ID has not changed. The PIN is the last 4 digits of your main number. Okay, and if you don't know what it is, you can call us and you can ask. Or you can, if you like the web, you can go online, you can change your password. That's something, if you don't like the last 4 digits of your phone number and you want to make it something else, you can change it to be anything you want it to be. Okay?
Okay.
So we've talked about our new IVR, our phone system. That's just phase 1. So the second phase and the third phase of what's going to come out with the IVR, to me actually I'm a little bit more excited about the second phase. I do have a crystal ball where I can probably predict that most people's number one thing that they don't like is waiting, no, because we're not on hold anymore. It used to be waiting on hold.
Just give her a
Thank you.
chance.
Now it's waiting for the bus. If I don't want to have to wait, it used to be 40 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Now it's
30.
30. When everything's on time, it's 30. I know, you can all get those digs in, I got you. It's normally 30, but that's always been an issue. I don't want to have to wait the 30 minutes. Well, phase 2 of Alice, this new IVR, is going to have us sending you a phone call or a text to let you know your vehicle's on its
I
way.
don't tax it.
Yeah, you like that. You like that. That to me is the most exciting part. You're gonna have to be ready, but we're going to call you on your cell phone or your home, just whatever that
How
number.
long in advance?
We are working out we're tweaking that. I wanna make sure it's something that really works.
Like 10, 15?
It's gonna be,
So it gives us time to go down the stairs?
well, we're gonna have to work on that
Or
and,
go outside?
I'll tell you what my problem is.
okay, well, can you hold your problem for 1 minute? And I promise we'll get to your problem. Okay, so, yes,
I don't do iPhones and I don't have any tech, just my flip phone.
so your home phone.
Flip phone and home phone.
Okay, so whatever that phone number is, your flip phone, your cell phone or your home, you will decide what that number is and we will call you at that number when we are in close proximity to your pickup. So
So for those who don't have text, they'll get a voice.
yes ma'am. Good? Good?
Oh, you can also leave a voicemail on my home phone now that you do.
But I don't want them to leave a voicemail on your home phone when you're waiting at work because that would solve no problem. So I want to make sure it's the number associated that you have with you all the time. So that, yes sir.
What about voicemail? Do you leave a voicemail, that's my cell phone?
We can leave a voicemail, yes. So it will either text you, and you're gonna have an opportunity to choose that. So it's gonna either text you or call you to let you know that vehicle's coming, which I believe, I just wanna say that, I know, we'll definitely get to questions. I just wanna make sure, I don't wanna tell some people they have to wait and some people you don't. That is going to be the notification to you to let you know that Access Link is coming. So I'm really excited about that. The other phase, some people are excited, some people aren't, but you will have who said they use the regular bus, right? Does anybody use you text the number to see where your bus is?
Yeah.
No.
On the regular bus, not on Access Link, on the main bus, right?
I've never done that.
Yes.
I get the bus to New York.
Okay, well, Access Link is going to allow you to do the same thing. So that'll be the third phase. You will be able to text a 5-digit number and we will text you back and give you the status of your ride. Just like we do on the regular bus. So we are doing a lot to help you know where your ride is without having to call, without having to even go on the web. Oh, and then the last piece, after we get the web going, after we get the IVR done, we are going to convert everything to an app. So people who do use a smartphone, you won't have to go like on the internet to find it. It will be an app that you can put right on your phone. I like when people say fantastic. I can like read lips. So it'll be an app that you can just go to on your phone and do all of the stuff that we talked about. So keep getting it. Okay. So I just want to. So that kind of sums up for everybody some of the stuff that we have going on, that we've been busy doing. What I'd like to do, I'm going to look at where we are. This is kind of how I work. So in the essence of cooperation, I see a lot of hands going up. I'm going to try and go around. You don't have to put your hands up yet. I'm going to try and go around and get to anybody who has a comment or a question. What I'd like to do is to give everybody a chance. I kind of do, everybody gets one comment or question, and then if we get around the room and we can go back, then we will. But the other thing too is I just want to let everybody know. So I've been talking with Audrey for a while, I've been talking with Robert for a while, you know, we've gone over a lot of the stuff. I'm aware of a lot of the issues that have happened in the past. I really, you know, I want to talk about anything that's right now, or even better is suggestions, thoughts, what we can do for the future, but not to really, I don't want to sit here and say, well, you know, 3 years ago, I had a trip that, you know, that was 3 years ago. And I think that we've addressed a lot of the older stuff. If it's something really specific to you and you had a really bad experience or there's that kind of issue, I will tell you that I don't have, I have a tablet in front of me, but not hooked up to our system. What I would probably gonna wind up doing is either saying, you know, you can call customer service or you can give us your information and we will call you. Because I do have, actually, as Audrey mentioned, I have Althea Branch with me. She's the manager of customer service, and she's right there in the middle. And she will take that, and she will get your number, your ID number. You don't have to broadcast it to the world. So that's why, too, I want to kind of allow some open stuff. I will allow some discussion, and then I just saw a novel. She just lifted up like 6 pages in front of me. You better jump through that and find one thing. No, I mean, we will definitely, you know, but if there's specific stuff, what I will do is I don't want to have you broadcasting your ID numbers, so we will break off at the end and then kind of just take any information we need to and get back to you on specifics. Is everybody kind of okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Did you find one thing?
Well, I'm gonna hand this to you.
Oh, that's even better.
Okay, they're done.
No, I didn't put my name on it.
Okay. But, oh wait, one of you does.
Mine doesn't have my name on it. I'm Deborah Davis.
You want my ID? You want my ID?
I don't need your ID number. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk it over out there. What's your name?
Deborah Davidson.
This is the top.
DBRN.
Okay. Does anybody else would like me to collect papers? I can do that. Okay. So, we're going to start in the back.
Yes,
Go ahead.
I know what part of JESPY, and way back, we were supposed to start this new thing online. And I don't know if JESPY going to have a certain staff who are going to be helping us paying online, or I don't have a credit card. And is JESPY going to get involved with their credit card, or do we have to talk to our parents?
So Audrey's going to give you her credit card, and you're going to use that to book your rides.
Maybe just pay her
No, what
back.
I'm saying is that, say, I just need, I've been having a lot of issues. They become late, and sometimes I have to cancel. And I don't want to lose money in my checking account.
Okay, so this is one of the things I forgot, and I apologize. Once we get all this technology rolled out, what we are going to do is we have been talking back in the office about doing some technology sessions throughout the state. And I think that Audrey, JESPY House would be a great location for us to host one, where we can bring staff in with computers and kind of sit down with the customers and show them everything, if you don't mind hosting one of those. And with your credit card. You got that on tape too. So we can, but if we can, we're going to set them up throughout the state, from the north to the south, to allow customers to come. Allow customers to come in and kind of work with them. So we promise we will definitely do that for individuals who want that and need that. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead, baby.
Hi, just to piggyback off of Pinky's statement about payments, is there ever going to be a way where these, some of our individuals, they're on the supports program through state, where their budgets will be able to pay or pick up the cost of some of the costs for the transportation payments that are associated with it?
That's actually, so I've had many conversations with different members at DVD and DVR, and I'm looking at Paul, but I know we can make this work, because that's one of the things that we said once, one of the reasons why we went with this type of system was because then, let's say DDD gives in my conversations with them, I've suggested that the money be associated with a card. Kind of like if you have child support, or if you get food stamps, it's a card, which is like a credit card. As long as it's got those 16 digits, and it's got some sort of,
CCB?
yeah, that thing attached to it, we should be able to take it, and then a customer could enter that, or a family member could use that to pay for their rides. And they can pick how much they want to, let's say you only want to, you know, somebody gets $100 from, you know, I'm making up numbers, but they get $100 every month and they only want to use 25 of it towards transportation, they can just put that credit card in and only put $25 into the customer's fund, and then they can trickle it down. Whether or not DDD accepts it, they should be, because it's transportation and it's part of their plan, and it should work. Yep. Yes, go ahead.
Hi everyone, I'm an intern here at JESPY House from Rutgers University for social work. I conducted a quick survey with about 17 of the clients here who take Access Link.
Okay.
So it was just 5 questions. The only 2 questions that really posed a problem for the clients here was arrival time. Over half of the clients stated that arrival time was an issue. I know you addressed that with the 30-minute window. Another issue that the clients had was the stability of the services. They felt like it wasn't as stable as they would like. Some of the comments that I received was that...
Can I ask a question? I'm sorry. So can we define what that means?
Stability far as with the 30-minute window, there wasn't...
Reliability on that.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Some of the comments that I received and suggestions, one person actually suggested same-day reservations. I don't know how likely that would be.
That's impossible.
Yeah.
That's my spokesperson over there. I mean, so let me just touch on those folks.
They need to get more.
Guys, it's just so you go from here. Yeah, that was actually one of the things, so I'll get that. But same day services right now, it would be a big adjustment. I mean, it would be huge, and that would mean a lot more drivers. It would mean a lot more money into it. So that's probably not what's going to happen right now. But I did not touch on it, and and it goes to the topic of stability, and that's why I wanted clarity on it. One of the things, you know, I apologize, I didn't discuss this too, is one of the big issues we were dealing with too was drivers and operators. All of our operators are required to have a specific license. I'm not going to get into all the finites and all the details, but they're required to have a specific license in order to be able to run the buses. And unfortunately, it's like there's a shortage. There's a CDL, Special Commercial Driver's License. There is a CDL issue countrywide. It's not specific to Access Link. It's not specific to New Jersey. It's not even specific, you know, it's not even to this area. It is an issue across the board. There is a shortage. Unfortunately, people are not coming out of, you know, jumping up and saying, I want to get my CDL and go drive. And if they do, they can go drive for Amazon and make a little, I'll say little, and then I'll, you know, kind of wink at that. You know, they can make a little bit more money driving for Amazon. But I will say that we are seeing a lot better issue with as far as the driver recruitment. Our providers are actively recruiting. We kind of worked with them to try and push to come up with better ways and more creative ways. The CDL test became harder. We met with motor vehicles. We brought motor vehicles in to help us, you know, get the drivers trained a little bit more. So, you know, it was, you know, there was definitely what I like to call the perfect storm of stuff going on, whether it was on the phones or it was on the drivers. It was just an issue across the board. But I would love it if you don't mind. Audrey has my card, if you can email me that survey with the comments, because I would absolutely, I take them, you know, we take them very seriously. We look at them, we read them, and I mean, the truth of the matter is, we came up with the IVR, we came up with the website, we came up with electronic fare, all because it's what the customers were talking about and saying that they wanted. You know, that's where we come up. Right now, we're putting a real focus on, you know, ride time. You know, how long people are on the buses, because there was always a focus on, you know, what time we got there to pick everybody up in that window, but now there's a need to change things to focus more on how long they're on the bus. and comparing it to the local bus. Because that's what the customers are saying. Everything we do based on the feedback that we get from the customers.
Oh,
So-
yeah, when you were
So if you could email, that would be great.
when you
Go ahead,
were-
you're next.
Yeah, when you were mentioning about the emailing of what other clients might not be able to do, we should get a class to learn how to do with their cards, their cards to and to do the last four numbers, and then and maybe the staff can probably teach the client who would be dealing with in that class, would teach them how to go online if they were willing to, unless we would do that in computer class, or it would be the Access Link class to teach them how to go online.
Yeah, and that is definitely.
That is what we could do.
That is definitely what our information says. Go
I
ahead.
have a couple friends who take Access Link, and I'm supporting.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Go ahead.
Have you considered using,
Guys, I'm sorry, please.
have you considered using scheduling software so that the person who's making the reservation tells you when they need to be someplace, and then when you call back to confirm, have them tell you when they will pick you up, rather, they don't have any idea whether there's one person on that bus or 5 people, or whether they're gonna tour Newark when they get to work.
So the question is with regard, I think if I understand it right, which I do, is kind of like helping with the return trip and planning when you're going to need the return trip?
No, not the return trip, like you could be at work at 10 o'clock, you may need to leave at 9:30, or you may need to leave at 8 o'clock, depending on how many people are on the bus, and that would vary.
Yeah, so here's the best advice I can give on booking your rides. If you have to book a ride, if you're booking a new ride on Access Link, and again, I mean, a lot of it is technology related, but if you have somebody in your life who can help you, that would be great. The NJ Transit website, there's a tab on the website called Trip Planner. If you can book the trip on the Trip Planner, first of all, if you can book it on the Trip Planner, then you can book it through Access Link. That's how you know if it's an Access Link eligible ride. That's the first thing. But that will tell you how long the ride will take.
But it doesn't tell you how many people are gonna go.
And I've already, but here's the
Heather,
thing.
can you use the microphone?
Sure.
It comes off, you can take
Yeah, no,
it
it was
off
walking
the
around.
thing.
So if you use, excuse me, if you use the Trip Planner and it tells you that that ride will take 2 hours on the regular bus, that is what you need to use as your guideline when you're booking it. Because we, on Access Link, should not be exceeding that 2 hours. Now, there are times that it could take less than 2 hours. And there are times that it will take the full 2 hours. My advice has always been to customers, you have to err on the side of the longer time. For example, if I'm taking the train to work and I know the train from my house is going to take me an hour and a half, I have to account for an hour and a half, regardless of whether or not it's going to be a shorter day or not. So if a customer knows that if they were to take the regular bus, the bus would take them 2 hours, and you have to be at work at 10, you have to plan on that pickup window being around 8 o'clock. Now, if you get there early, that is something that could happen. I know that that is an issue for some people. We've talked about that. But it is, unfortunately, that's where, and we didn't touch on this before, but that's where individuals need to understand that Access Link is the local bus. So if you have a fear of somebody that you, and I don't know, as a parent, I don't know, who you're booking your rides for, but if you have a family member or a child or somebody you're caring for, and you don't want, they can't handle getting dropped off too early because they're not going to know what to do, that's a serious issue and concern, and that's something you have to think about when you're using the Access Link service, because there is no aid. There is no aid. We don't wait for them to go, to make sure the building is open. And I know that that's a struggle for people, but that is how, unfortunately, our service works. So,
If you call back to confirm every ride, couldn't that person tell them that they're going to deliver with 5 people ahead of you, or you're going directly to work?
That's the thing, we don't
But the
know.
thing is I don't know what's gonna happen the day of. Unfortunately, here's the interesting concept. We book 7 days in advance. Most people book their rides the day before.
I know, but you'd call back to confirm.
Right, but most people also cancel the day of. So I could tell you that there's gonna be 5 people on the bus in front of you at 7 o'clock tonight, and your trip is 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, and between 7 o'clock tonight and 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, 4 of those people could cancel.
But if you say there's only one person ahead of you, are you ever gonna have more?
Yes, because I could have one person scheduled, and then I may have another driver call out, and that driver has five trips on it. I've got to find a home for those 5 trips. Those 5 trips might wind on yours. The best thing with that is going to be the web, and a lot of customers are finding a very,
Well, that's
so how
what
do I
they
say
need to
this?
learn.
We are actually realizing that we're giving customers a lot more information than we realized that we would be giving with the web, because you can look at the web 9 million times a day. Nobody's going to stop you. And you could see your scheduled drop-off time change. Actually, it doesn't show your scheduled drop-off time. It shows your pickup time.
Yeah.
My bad. But again, you can see what's going on. You can see your pickup time. Your pickup time is going to stay the same. The day of, it's going to give you an estimated time. But you have to, unfortunately, it's not the best answer, and I know that you're looking at me like, you're not really giving me the best answer. And I know it's not because it's the bus.
It seems like there is a lot of software in this world, like UPS and everybody else, is scheduling trips that you would know that, like, someone who's going for a 4-hour job doesn't have to be gone 10 hours out of the day.
But we do use the scheduling software. I mean, I do know, I could go in right now, and I could tell everybody what it says. But it's going to change. It's not the software, it's the service, because customers are canceling, and we're moving trips day of. Like, we've had individuals who call up and say, I want to know who my driver is today. I want to know if I'm getting a bus or a sedan today. And we could give them that. I can give them everything, but it could change like this. It could change the drop of the hat. So the best advice I've always given for customers is err on the side of the longer travel time. And it's gonna be that. If you know, like, again, here's a perfect example. I went to a meeting, and an individual was supposed to be there from Access Link. And I walked into the meeting, and the person on the other side of the table said, well, I hate to tell you, but so-and-so is supposed to be here, and Access Link never showed up. And that's when I wanted to crawl under the table, because I'm sitting there. And I said, well, can you give me the information? And I sent the information over an email while I was in the meeting, to find out that this customer was traveling from where they lived to where I was meeting. It was an hour and a half by car. The meeting was supposed to start at 11, and their window was from 10:30 to 11. Which meant that they could get picked up at 11 for an 11 o'clock meeting that's going to take them an hour and a half. But what was relayed was, Access Link never picked me up. And they said, well, it doesn't always take an hour and a half. Well, I can't tell my boss, it doesn't always take me. I mean, I live in an area, unfortunately, too, we live in New Jersey, which doesn't help. I mean, there are days, I will say, I live in Bloomfield, and I work in Newark. There are days that it takes me 19 minutes, door to door. There are days that it takes me an hour and 45 minutes. And it depends on what time I leave. If I leave my house before 6:45, I'm good. Sometimes it's at 6:50, 6:55, I'm done. And I just have to remember that. I was coming here for a meeting today. I was sitting across the street at 4:50. What time did we meet? 6? I didn't change the clocks in my car. That's why it said 4:15. I was here at like 5:10 because I knew it would only take me 20 minutes, but I also know what the parkway is like at exit 145. That construction screwed me up. I wound up on the wrong place. I mean, unfortunately, we have to take all of that into account and err on the side of the longer, if that doesn't help. In the back of the...
I'm sorry. There's a question I just didn't hear the answer to. I just want to make sure her question is answered. And her question was, is it off, in addition to what you answered in the beginning part, of the time. She also asked, is it possible for your software to take into account the now established kind of real-time software that exists for Waze, for UPS, for other vendors, where they're actually able to show you where the bus is or where the car is at a particular time?
Well, that would be-
As well. And the reason why is that it also tells you where they are when they're going to come and pick you up, and it can also tell you how far out they may be, as well as having another type of software that would tell them how many people were in the car. So I guess because when you were talking about, I understand what you're saying is 2 hours on the bus, but she asked kind of 2 different types of software fixes that already exist. And I'm wondering if you could say whether your system will adopt these new fixes that already exist.
But, okay, so I guess,
Ma'am, is that what you're asking?
Maybe I don't understand how you route these little buses. Does it take the same route regardless of who it's picking up?
so every day is a different route.
Yeah, that's
It's
what-
based on the service, the demand for the day, and the most productive and efficient route for the day. Now, again, you asked me, how do we route it?
See, the person making the reservation has to be clairvoyant because they don't know how many people are on that van. You're the only one that knows.
But it doesn't, they don't have to, I mean, I understand what you're saying, I understand your questions, they're a little different, but with regards to that, you just have to think, it's the same amount every time. You have to just take into account the longest ride.
Well, for instance, my daughter worked 4 hours a day and was gone for 10 hours. She didn't even have a lunchtime because it was.
Okay, well, if there's a specific situation, I would love to address it with you, I mean, I definitely would. Yeah, we definitely can do that. To address your question with regards to the software, I mean, our software can do a lot and say a lot, but number one, a lot of it changes dynamically, constantly, all the time. One of the things we have coming out, which I mentioned, was the IVR, which will alert the customers when the vehicle is arriving. Knowing exactly where the vehicle is, as far as we know where our vehicles are all the time. I could put that on, on a map and put that on the internet, but I don't want to give false information either, and it's just like we are adding and trips are getting canceled continuously. So that stuff will constantly change, and unfortunately I just don't want a customer, I mean, we could look into it and we'll look into anything, but I also don't want to give misinformation where you look, you see it, you think it's there, and then a trip gets added, and then something changes, But definitely, I mean, we're adding real-life traffic to our vehicles so that the drivers can reroute with real-life traffic. But definitely, I mean, there's things that we can definitely show more on the web once we get that kicked off and look into it, definitely.
All right, so-
Question, I gotta, yeah, and I mean, I do.
I'm sorry, guys.
Well,
I'm gonna start calling the questions.
That works.
Okay,
Go
so
ahead.
Susan's in the back.
Hi, I'm Susan Cohen. I'm a trustee here at JESPY House. And first of all, thank you very much for coming and listening to all our concerns and helping us resolve them. And it's very exciting to hear about all these developments and advances that are coming on the reservation system. But I think that if we could spend a few minutes talking about the ride experience itself, according to Access Link guidelines, the trips are supposed to take no more than 1.5 times what the trip would take on New Jersey Transit. And I'm sure Audrey's talked to you about a lot of stories about our clients being on the buses for 3 hours, coming to South Orange by way of Montville, Bound Brook, just ways that don't make sense. What's being done to rationalize the trip and make sure that our clients are having rides that are within Access Link's guidelines of 1.5 times the ride?
Well, that was, I mean, one of the things that we did discuss, is that it's where my focus is right now. It is a focus on ride time. And we are even trying to stay away from the 1.5. We're trying to make it be more literally, no, I mean for the better. Okay, so, I'm sorry. I meant it for the better. In the fact that we're trying to keep it more truly comparable to the local bus. And looking at what that bus route is, we are making, I talked with Audrey at the last time we met, making changes on the back end in our software and looking at reports and really holding our providers accountable to that. Unfortunately, one of the things is, and again, there's two sides. There are definitely people who are on the bus for too long. But there is also situations where it would amaze you to really see what the bus ride time is. And for some of the individuals where they're saying, I'm on the bus for 2 hours, and again, the examples you're given, some of they're way off and not right. But there are also some individuals who, that ride time on the bus is 2 hours. And individuals say, well, I only live 15 minutes from where I'm going. It's a 15-minute car ride, but it's not the car ride, it's the bus ride. And a lot of it, and that's one of the reasons why we really thought it was important to come out today, is there are definitely issues, and we are looking at them and working with them, and we're seeing an improvement on that, but there's also education. And we're trying to find a nice balance of the two and be able to work with everybody. So ride time is a big focus of ours. My staff knows it. We're getting this technology. I mean, the phone the whole time was a big issue. We made leaps and bounds in the last couple of months in that. Now we're going to start to switch, really, not that we haven't started already, but more so turn the focus to the ride time and see what we're doing and how much better we can get with that. Most definitely. Audrey?
Hi, Helen Engel. I'm a parent of a JESPY client. We've been using Access Link since 2010, and I can see a great improvement in using the email reservation system over trying to make a reservation on the phone. And I'm sorry that it is so difficult and that a lot of people aren't using it, because one of the things I find is that those ride times are a lot better when you put in that I need to leave at such and such no earlier than such and such a time, and I have to be here at such and such a time. And a lot of times whoever's receiving those email reservations takes that into consideration, rather than when you call on the phone and you request, 3 o'clock, and they say, well, I can give you something at 1:30, and then, well, no, that's no good, what's the next time? And they say, well, now we got to go another hour after the 3 o'clock. You don't get that with the email reservation. So if you're not using them, that's a really good thing to do. The online portal is a wonderful thing now. You can really see, really closely what time Access Link is coming within your window, and as it gets closer to your window, it gets more and more accurate within that time. The request that I'd like to make is that I know up to a certain point before you ride, you can't cancel. What I'd like to request is that if the expected time now exceeds your window, that lock be taken off, that you can cancel the ride if it's going to be late.
And I will tell you right now, if you did and it was late, and you called, and let's say you called in to address it, we would remove that. We deal with those 100%.
Right, when they do call and I've received the call that they're going to be late, I'll tell them, well, then cancel the ride, and they're fine with that. But sometimes my son gets the call and he tells them to call me, and then they don't. And so now I'm trying to call them to cancel the ride, and that's where it's busy. I can't get through right away to cancel that ride.
Okay.
And I feel bad about making them come when I have to leave and get him someplace because it's going to be late.
Yeah, you know what, I will definitely, I'll definitely take that back. I want to look at that and see what we can do to help with that, but I also hope you're not getting that busy right now.
Well,
I just hope, because I mean, that's my hope, that's,
Yes, good evening. My name is Mr. Braden. My son is a passenger on Access Link.
Hi, sir.
My question is something it's an ongoing problem with Access Link. My son's been riding Access Link since 2012, and for some reason, we cannot get his pickup location, his drop-off location correct. We can't get his, when he's picked up from work, we can't get his pickup location and his drop-off location correct. It's in your system for him to be picked up on the service road where we live, right in front of our door. But sometimes your drivers, they come to the circle. So he doesn't know that they're there. All right, and then when he's at work, they're instructed to pick him up at the employee's entrance in the rear. But they come to the front. Okay? This is something that's been going on for years. We call into customer service. We speak to your customer service reps. They tell us that, we're going to handle the situation. We'll take care of it. We know that Mr. Braden is already in the system. We can see that. But nothing ever changes. It never changes.
do you think Althea could take care of that?
Yeah.
After they give me the information?
We will definitely, I mean, I'm sure that you're probably gonna, you'll laugh when I say it, but I'm gonna look at you and I'm gonna tell you, we will handle it, and we will address it, and we will make sure that that absolutely gets fixed.
Hi, good evening, Mrs. Britton. My question is, Access Link, is this normally a 7-day-a-week type of service? In operation?
Access Link is 365 days out of the year. We operate the same days and hours as the regular bus.
Okay, then I have a question, because where we live, and if my son has to be to work on a Sunday, I was told that they do not operate in that region on a Sunday.
Well, that's how I apologize, ma'am, but that's what I said earlier. We mirror the local fixed route bus. So if there is no bus service, and you can talk with Althea, and we can look into this. If there is no bus service in your area on a certain day or at a certain time, then there may not be Access Link during that certain day and time.
The Morristown bus runs 7 days a week.
Okay, so then we will take a look at it and most definitely fix that. I mean, we will address it, but if it mirrors, Althea will go in the back and get that information from you, and we will see what the situation is. But again, we mirror the local bus. So if the buses don't run on a certain day, or they end at a certain time, then Access Link in that area is gonna follow that.
And it's the specific bus route,
Yeah.
not just having a bus, but the
Specific.
buses have to connect to say that the trip is possible. And just in the Morristown area, they do have buses that run, but we also know that they stop running very early. So it's not Access Link is always available, but based on the local service in the area. So I can take the information.
I mean, one thing that and I'll just share this, and I got you. One thing, that we deal with is that, we can only do what the bus does. And it's the same, and that works in 2 ways. So if New Jersey Transit adds service, then Access Link has to add that service. If New Jersey Transit cuts service, then that portion of the Access Link service gets cut. We are just, as I said earlier, the little white bus that does everything that the big white bus does. Yes?
Yes, good evening. My name is Catherine Colbert, and I'm a house parent and a DLS counselor here at JESPY. I have several clients in my home that and here she is. I was just going to say, the young lady that I'm really concerned about is Phyllis. She called me at 10 minutes after 4 today. She always calls me and lets me know when she has arrived at work and when she's getting ready to go home, because it's become a very serious issue. She called me at 4 o'clock and told me they told her they would pick her up at 10 minutes after 4, and she just walked in the door. I believe it's 7:15 now, and actually she's home quite early. This is a normal thing that we're dealing with. She's also picked up about 5:30 every morning. Her job starts at 8:30, and sometimes she's late. She's not the only client that concerns me, because there's another gentleman here in the audience. But we're having an ongoing issue, and my main concern in all this is that they are taken to a transfer point, and they're having to wait there for a second ride. And I'm wondering, is there something to be done about this? This is not the only clients.
Well, I don't, so can you just, she's going to a transfer point, going from where to where? Can you just?
She's going to Jersey City, and I know for a fact, because I've taken her there and brought her home, it only takes 45 minutes. There is one time when Phyllis came home this last week, it surprised us all. She got home at 5:04. So I know that it's not impossible for this to happen, and that's only because there were no other clients, or there were no other passengers.
So I do want to get the information, but I do want to just explain the transfer situation. So we have the state, we cover the entire state. And one of the things is when they developed the law, and they did ADA paratransit, they never expected it to be a statewide agency. They expected it to be, smaller agencies, like, most states have county services that get mirrored. We had a statewide. But when you're going to Jersey City, we divided the state into 5 regions. Jersey City is in Region 6, and where does she live? Or she's coming here?
Yes, literally a block away.
Right, so Essex County is in Region 5, and Jersey City is Region 6. So and we mentioned it earlier, the counties. The counties will not go 5 miles outside of their county. We will cross county lines, but we keep our regions from one region to another. So Region 6, which is Bergen, Passaic, and Hudson, and Essex County falls in Region 5. So there is going to be a transfer. and from Region 6 to Region 5. Again, I'm just explaining, I'm not justifying in any way, because we are going to look into it because I want to see what the ride time is, but I'm just explaining what that transfer is. And we also make sure that we do bus-to-bus transfers. We don't do drop and go, because I won't let that happen right now. It's not something we're ever, we're going to do. So it is a transfer, but I do want to look into it, and I promise you we will get back to you. I want to, when Althea is done or when we're finished, I want to get the two customers' information and look into it, and we will respond back to you on that.
When is all this going to happen? I know you said about all the new changes that are coming. I didn't catch that. When is all this going to happen?
Well, which one?
The computers.
Okay, so the IVR, the first phase of the IVR went live February 28th. The other two phases will be coming within the next month or so. The web, we have 1,700 user acceptance customers right now. That will be live by the end of this month as well.
So we're looking at least a month before everything.
Well, with those two things, yes, but again, there is the web right now with check status and cancel, just not reserve a ride, there goes my tongue, and electronic fare. But please make sure you don't leave without me getting that information from you.
Hi, my name is Lynn Whitman, and I'm the mother and a guardian of a JESPY client and an Access Link user. I'm also on user acceptance testing on the web.
Great.
So I applaud your vision to bring it into today, and I really appreciate that. However, it is very flawed, and I think you've just automated some flawed processes and added new ones. And I don't think you can roll this out across the system in this way. You're going to be overflooded with calls and issues. So for example, there's a maximum amount of addresses to which people can be can actually use as their destination, which is not a parity with the bus system. Anybody who wants to take a bus to any place can do that. They're not limited to 5 or 10 different destinations. So that's one, and that's really caused us problems. Number two, you can't just go in there and put your destination in. You have to actually call and get your destination added.
Yes.
Number three, there's an overlap window. So my son works. Within 2 hours or 3 hours of his ride home from work, he cannot then take a ride over to JESPY. It will not let him. So again, we have to call, and by the way, by the time we do that, there's very limited rides. There's also mistakes. So we will put in that he needs a ride, let's say at 2 p.m. to 2:30. And it will come back and say that it gave us a ride at, let's say, 2:30. When we go on the website, it actually gave us a ride at 1 o'clock. So maybe it's associated with daylight savings time. I emailed about that one today.
Okay.
So it's very clumsy. There's a lot of trial and error in terms of getting the right time that you want. So you can submit a time, and it won't give you a time for an hour later or an hour and a half later. So again, for people who work or who have to be in certain places, even adding in the windows that you're talking about, it's not working. As someone who works in terms of rolling things out and doing program management and project management, I implore you not to roll this out to the system.
Can I address some of those?
Well, let me keep going because I have one chance. So, also just as a mother and a legal guardian, many people have certain capabilities that they can do and other capabilities they can't. You only have one notification, phone number or email or text. So my son, it's great when you send a note telling him what time the bus is coming. That's great for him. However, when you're late or going to be late, he is not capable of making the call and doing the calculation to say, I need to cancel. But since I'm not getting that call, he ends up stranded and in the middle of nowhere and then not able to get where he needs to. So I would implore you again to be able to add more than one person as a guardian or a caregiver to do that. And then lastly, I have a laundry list and a litany, but I'll just stop after this last one. And I do implore you for taking this on and modernizing, believe me, I do. So I was on hold today for 30 minutes, so I've never encountered a 4-minute hold time, I'm sorry. But what most companies do that have these kind of things, they have a callback option. I don't have the time, you don't have the time to sit on hold for 30 minutes. Why not just have it, we'll take your phone number and we'll call you back. It's just, I'm sorry, that was the standard 20 years ago. Just saying.
And to Justin, I appreciate that. Just to address some of the issues or comments that you brought up with regards to the web, yes, you can only book, you can have 10 addresses, but it's 10 personal addresses, but just please let me finish. It's 10 personal addresses. It's any one of our common locations or anywhere that anybody else has used the service, because we can't just have you call up, we can't have you go online today and plug in an address today that we have never taken a ride to. It's not just your 10 addresses. It's anywhere that it's your 10 addresses, but it's anywhere of our thousands of common locations. And the reason why we do that is because, as I mentioned, some of the addresses aren't in the service area. And we have to, well, I mean, you're asking, I'm just...
That's not what I was told today on the phone by
Okay.
your people.
And I mean, if you just let me, please, give me a chance, and if something you were told was not true, or was not the same, then we will address that and fix that, but I want to make sure that everybody knows what the true answer is. Because I am telling you what is the real answer. If my staff are giving you misinformation, then that's what I'm going to take back from today, and I'm going to fix that. But I don't want people leaving here thinking the wrong thing. My reason for coming tonight was to make sure that everybody has the right information. So it's 10 addresses associated with each customer, and then it's any one of our common locations. Like I said, thousands of places we've already gone because they've already been, I don't want to get technical, but geocoded or matched on our system to make sure they're in the service area. As far as, and I apologize if I missed one of the things that you said, with the overlapping, there is, right now, even when you call, the system takes into account what we call 90 minutes, because we want to make sure that you don't have a ride scheduled before you get to where you're going. The agents on the phone can do a little bit of tweaking with that. We realized with the web is it wasn't going to be the solution for every single solitary trip. Some trips were still going to have to be on the phone, and that's why my goal is to get that phone hold down, because some people are still going to be. It's not going to be 100%. Some of those trips, and that's where we get with that overlap. So if, again, that may be the situation, that he's dealing with when you're booking the rides on the web coming back with the overlap. As far as you said, you put in a time and it gives you, an hour more. We are actually allowed by law to book our trips plus or minus 1 hour of your requested time. So if a customer calls, whether it's they speak to an agent or they put it in an email or they do it on the web, I can put in 7 a.m. as my requested time. I am allowed, and I'm stuck because I'm being recorded, so I'm going to stick with what I am allowed plus or minus an hour to give you a scheduled time. So if you request a 7 a.m., I can give you a time between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. That's what I'm allowed to do by law. That's what our scheduling is allowed to do. That's where that plus or minus, that's where if you put something in, people say, I asked for 7 and I got a 6:05. I don't want a 6:05. But it allows, that's where we're allowed with our scheduling. I apologize, today I definitely want to find out who you spoke to, if you got this information with regards to today. I'm sorry that there are some things, that you feel this way with the web. We want to make it better. I definitely, sounds to me like you definitely have shared those concepts with my staff who's running the user acceptance testing, because I've heard about the overlap being a complaint. I've heard about the address. It's coming to me. It's just that some of the things, that's what we're going to have to do. It's not going to be the end-all, be-all for every single solitary trip, but it's definitely more than 10, and I really want to find out what you were told with regards to that so we can fix that.
My name is Ann Ali Ahmed. I'm a mother and guardian to a new client at JESPY House. I think my question would be very simple. How can I get my son on a subscription prior to 30 days or 30 trips when this is where he's coming to and this is where he's leaving from? And he's just going home. That's it. Boom, West Orange, South Orange, South Orange, West Orange.
We'll get your ID number and we'll take care of it.
Thank you.
Is that a simple answer? Perfect. Or a simple question?
Okay. I got two.
two real fast things. I was trying to fill out the form on the internet about the credit card and didn't want to go through it. Is there someone that could, give assistance filling out the, the credit card information?
We will get your ID number
Okay.
before you leave and make sure. Again, our goal today, because, I would love to be here,
Right.
but some of this stuff, we will get ID numbers. And
Okay.
I am,
Yeah,
for some people who don't know me, I will, again, I'm asking you to trust me on some things. My word is very important to me. If I say to you, we're gonna get your ID number, we're gonna call you back, we most definitely will do that.
Okay. And my other first thing is, I use what they call Accessoride in New York also, and it's $275 to go anywhere in the whole 5 boroughs plus Long Island. Is there a way to change the fact that, we go by zones?
I would, and guess what, that is on my laundry list, to work on our fare. The only thing I will say is that be careful, that catchphrase, be careful what you ask for,
Right.
because right now Access Link's fare is actually less than the local fixed route bus,
Right.
and at some point, it's gonna have to get caught up.
Right.
And it's probably gonna make it more, it's never gonna be an exuberant amount of money, but at some point, it's gonna get caught up to New Jersey Transit's fare, and
But we still haven't yet.
so I just kind of, keep my mouth shut on the fact that we're not paying the same as the local bus.
So this is a question and a comment. Okay, so now I understand that, Access Link drives around town of New Jersey. Okay, so my question is that, why is that Access Link been driving town of New Jersey that we have things to do? What if there is we have appointments or we would go to, or going, we do a lot, all of us, do a lot. But why is that Access Link driving the whole entire town of New Jersey, and it's frustrating?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely can be frustrating. You shouldn't be on the bus Access Link should not be on Access Link any longer than you would be on the bus. I would love to make it from point A to point B in a direct route, but unfortunately, I can't do that. And it's going to be comparable to the bus, so we just have to kind of plan and schedule accordingly for that. And I got to cover, I mean, that's the best answer I can give you on that one.
I just wanted to thank you for coming to finally speak to us.
You're very welcome. I have been waiting to do this for a while, so.
Yeah, it's frustrating because we should not have had to go to Newark to go to the transit board just to get access to you.
Well, and sir, I'm going to be honest with you, you did not need to. I had already put myself out there months prior. So I apologize that it did not happen and it did not get relayed, but you did not have to go to the board to get me here. I had offered months ago.
Because as I was told by someone in your office that we don't come to customers. That's one that was rude. I don't know if.
Sir, I'm here now, and I have always been. We've been going out and doing outreach for years, going to numerous locations. This is not abnormal for me to do, and I was very willing to do this.
Which I appreciate, and I thank you for coming out again.
You're welcome.
I do have.
I'll be the woman laying in the middle of South. What is it out? No, I'm just kidding.
I do have a concern. A friend of mine lives in Maplewood, which has a direct bus to South Orange. There's been times that he's been on the bus, on the Access Link for 2 hours when it should be, a 15-minute bus ride.
Well, and unfortunately, like I said earlier, I can't address general questions like that. I don't know the specifics to that customer, to those trips. So if he has issues and he has problems and concerns, please have him call customer service and we will address them.
Hi, thank you again. I'm Jonathan Myers, a board member and brother of a client who happened to, I think, been JESPY's first Access Link client. So he doesn't even remember when it started, but it
He's got
was a long time ago.
he's got one of those small ID numbers?
He's what's that? 1488, that's pretty
That's
low.
pretty good considering we're at like 70,000. So, yeah.
Anyhow.
I have a customer who's number 94 at this point, and it's pretty impressive.
Thank you for exposing yourself to all of the questions and answers, and you have a tall order to make the big repairs. There are a lot of clients who are not internet savvy or capable, but I think your compromise with at least calling the telephone would be helpful. I'm hung up on route efficiency because I didn't really hear the answers or the letters GPS. I'm assuming that the buses are all GPS equipped, and like an Uber car, for example, or Lyft or other similar service, where there's a reinforcement to the user of this is where my vehicle is. Even if it's wherever it is, at least that positive reinforcement to those who do have the ability to look at that on a smartphone would satisfy, I think, an awful lot of anxiety for people who are already anxious about traveling because of their disability. It's an additional obstacle. Is that in any way part of the plan?
So, to answer the question, all of our vehicles are equipped with software. We know where all of our vehicles are at all times. We had at one point discussed having the live map on the website. I am going to, after our conversation today, I'm going to go back and have that conversation. One of our biggest issues with the web, and it's not even one that was mentioned in the back, when we got the software, I don't know how many people are familiar, but there's JAWS software for people with visual impairments, and the website was not compatible with the JAWS, and that's why we haven't rolled it out completely yet, because that's where I drew that was my fault. I drew a hard line and would not accept, because I'm not going to roll something out to a portion of my population can't use.
That's right.
So we were fighting with that. I have to go back, but I believe that was a big piece of the issue, was going to be able to use the JAWS reader for the map. It may come down to me really having to reach out to the entire population and kind of weigh those, weigh my options there and legally protect myself. If I put that live map feed on it, is there going to be customers who aren't going to be able to read it? I know one of the things, like I mentioned before, is I also don't want to give a false sense of security. I don't want somebody to see a vehicle somewhere and think that they're next and there's something else. But I will say that there's a few things I've walked away from here tonight, and one of them is I really want to reevaluate that concept. I think it ties into the point from the board member, and I think it ties into some of the
If I may, my question sort of had two parts. The second part was exactly what you just talked about. The danger in the mapping program is you see the bus is 3 blocks away, and oh my goodness, now it is in Livingston, and then all of a sudden it's in Maplewood, and it's supposed to be here, and I've seen it come close 3 times. And that route efficiency, as it also relates, for example, I witnessed something, not my brother, but a rider who happened to be in the building where I work, and she was severely disabled, and it took an exorbitant amount of time to get her onto the bus. How does the route planning function take that into account?
That's the other thing too. We really take everything into account. So that's, again, without getting into too technical, but we look at boarding time. And if I have an individual who, and I'm just going to, who uses a mobility device and needs a little bit more time, then we do make that adjustment, and it does take that into account. We then take that into account the same thing on the return with the pickup. If we see that the customer's going to need a little bit more time. If it's, if the customer is, we have different thresholds for that. So we take all of that into account when we're scheduling the ride. One of the things is, and I mentioned it, I didn't mention it here, but I mentioned it in my meeting with Audrey and some of the staff, is that, did I mention I've only been in this position for 1.5 years? So I'm dealing with a lot of things that are going on that we're trying to not change because that just changed because it's time to do some things differently. And there's a lot of things that my predecessor had been working towards, and one of them was the routing. I mean, they're gonna shut the lights off on us pretty soon. Is one of them is I'm not physically. You're lucky I'm still standing, like, thank God this platform is here, it's holding me up. But we're definitely looking into more of street routing, because it used to be sort of by the way the crow flies, which people aren't walking through bushes and trees and brooks to get from point A to point B. So we really are truly putting a strong emphasis moving forward on ride time, and that is where we will be looking to focus our energy after we get the phone system handled.
A couple more quick questions, I promise.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Banlower. I'm a JESPY client. I had problems in the past of setting the times that I wanted to get, and sometimes I get like 6 o'clock in the morning, and when I get what's did for the return, it's like earlier than let's say 5 o'clock or whatever I wanted to get it. Is there any way or that I can get a set time?
If you're doing the same trip, then we can hook you up with a subscription. Do you have a subscription?
No.
Okay.
But it's just going from my house to Livingston to my sister's house, and also...
hold on one second. So, Althea, I want to make sure we get Jonathan, and there was a person before she leaves. Okay, I know you were talking to the people in the back. The woman by the back in the blue sweater? I just want to make sure we get the 2 customers from her. So Jonathan, we'll get your number. We'll make sure that we work with you on that.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Where are we at, Audrey?
Hi, my name is Mike. I've been a rider for AccessLink for the past, since I've been 18 years old, and now I'm going to be 39. One of the things that I'm concerned about is the interaction sometimes with the drivers. At least, you know, we were talking about riding around the country with different people and picking up and dropping off. At least in some ways, have some sort of a decency to say that to the rider. You know, sometimes they don't say anything. You're thinking you're going to work, and then boom, you end up somewhere else. And then, like what these guys were also saying is sometimes they just go out of the way, and it really your destination makes more sense to get dropped off at.
So let me answer that, you know, in a couple of ways. Number one, if for anybody, if you feel that the driver is passing your location, and I don't mean like we're here and it's 5 miles down that block over there, and you're like, well, my location, but I mean if they're coming down, I apologize, what is this, Irvington? They're coming down Irvington and you're supposed to go here and they keep going, then you need to, hold up, you need to say, hello, you just passed my location. As far as drivers telling you when, you know, if you get on the bus, you can always ask the driver, am I being dropped off next? You know, you can ask those questions. It is what I call that fine line with drivers, because I want to make sure that they're professional and courteous, but I want to make sure the conversations remain professional and courteous. And so sometimes, you know, I think that they err on not saying, you know, what is it, less is more, you know, and that's not necessarily the right answer. So we do work with our drivers to make sure that they're courteous and professional. If they're not, please tell customer service if you have a problem, because I will tell you that we have no tolerance for drivers that aren't being courteous and professional.
Well, the situation is like for instance, I live on 177 Irvington, and they dropped off someone here. Okay, so they went past my building, dropped off a person here, and then drove back up the hill. See, and I actually said that to them, and a lot of times they don't believe me.
Okay, well, we definitely need, I mean, again, we need to, if it's a situation specific, please let us know, and we will definitely address it, because that's not okay. Where's Audrey with the microphone?